Hello, friends. Welcome to Surviving Tomorrow, a podcast, newsletter, and publication that helps you navigate life in an age of democratic destruction, ecological collapse, and economic irrelevance. Available for free on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and YouTube. I am Jared A. Brock. The elites hate you. It's not personal. They just do. Elites hated your ancestors, too. Whether your ancestors were African slaves in the New World, especially in Brazil, or serfs under the British aristocracy, or peasants under the Russian Tsars, or slaves under the Chinese dynasties, elites have extracted time and wealth from your family since before recorded history. Until essentially the end of World War I, elites owned everything. Take, for instance, the East India Company. A staff of 35 people controlled the fate of more than 100 million Indians from a 5-window office in London. Lack of ownership for the masses, that was the problem. Whenever elites own everything, everyone else is shackled to horrible jobs just to survive, while the elites live in obscene luxury with no thought to the misery and suffering of the masses. Sound familiar? In the wake of the global pandemic, today's elites are taking back the planet that they believe rightfully belongs to them and putting the rest of us back where they believe we belong, in economic chains. In January 2021, the hyper-elitist World Economic Forum, hosted by Prince Charles and sponsored by glowing anti-democratic monopolists including BlackRock and JP Morgan, held its 50th annual meeting from the Alpine slopes of Davos, Switzerland. The theme was the Great Reset, a proposal to rebuild the economy, quote-unquote, sustainably in the wake of COVID-19. Right. Even billionaire-obsessed Forbes magazine had to admit their agenda was, quote, just another example of wealthy, powerful elites salving their consciences with faux efforts to help the masses, and in the process make themselves even wealthier and more powerful. In the World Economic Forum video entitled 8 Predictions for the World in 2030, their very first prediction is troubling. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. As the WF explains on their website, by 2030, all products will have become services. You won't own anything. You won't own a car, you won't own a house, you won't own any appliances or any clothes. Shopping is a distant memory in the city of 2030, whose inhabitants have crack clean energy and borrow what they need on demand. It sounds utopian until they mention that every move is tracked and outside the city live swaths of discontents, the ultimate depiction of a society split in two. Notice the implicit threat towards the end of that statement? Play ball or suffer. And if the elites have their way, you won't even own your own underwear 9 years from now. This is slavery by another name. And it begs the question, if we won't own everything, who will? The answer is obvious. The elites will. And then they'll rent it back to us for top dollar. Whatever the market can bear. But obviously, what the market can bear and what the people can bear are two different things entirely. Interestingly, a societal structure in which the vast majority own nothing and have to work for elites just to stay alive already has a name. It's called feudalism. Welcome to Feudalism 2.0. Have you noticed that the economy is rapidly shape-shifting? During the pandemic, billionaires added more than $5.5 trillion to their net worth. If you chart the trajectory and do the math, you'll discover elites will control the entire global economy within our lifetime. Sadly, the goal of today's elites is the same as their ancestors, to enslave the world in order to extract maximum amount of time and wealth from every living being. Ownership matters, my friends. Without ownership, America's 115.6 million renters are at the whims of cruel landlords and Airbnb takeovers. Without ownership, all of Tesla's 70,000 employees miss out on their $14 million stake in the company they created, while Elon Musk makes $36 billion in a single day. Without ownership, millions of Walmart employees struggle to feed their families, while the billionaire Walton family enjoys corporate socialism on an unprecedented scale. Without ownership, people pay ever-increasing gas prices to get to work. The bottom billion go to bed hungry because of the slightest increase in grain prices. Women and children prostitute their bodies to make ends meet, and millions of people suffer globally and over 1 million people per day move into slums. Without ownership, we don't get to own stuff. Not our houses, not our cars, not our clothes, nor our music, our movies, our furniture, our appliance, or our books. Everything becomes pay per use. And if you can't pay, you don't get to use it, no matter what it is. Without ownership, every single one of us lives and dies by the market. When the price of energy spikes 180 times during a Texas blizzard, you can either freeze to death or take on a lifetime of debt. When the price of housing rises to $10 million in a lifetime, you can live on the streets or work 3 underpaid jobs just to keep a rotting roof over your head. When your child develops a life-threatening condition and private health care insurance denies part or all of your claim, you can either let your kid die or declare bankruptcy, along with hundreds of thousands of other American families every single year. When the market price of water moves beyond what you can afford due to systemic inequalities beyond your control, the CEO of Nestle thinks you don't deserve to drink water. Check out the show notes on Substack to see a video of him saying as much. Without ownership, people don't have stakes in the game. They aren't invested. And when they aren't invested, they become rogue actors, terrorists, prone to dissent and violence and chaos. And why not? They didn't sign up to play a game of real-life Monopoly. Why not smash the board and shatter the pieces? You're probably wondering, what's the point of Feudalism 2.0? Is it really worth the hassle of retaking total ownership of the global economy and forcing the masses back into digital serfdom? It's not like it'll win you friends or make you happier or let you live forever, so why bother? It's because elites are sad and broken, and especially delusional. They think that adding extra zeros to their net worth will somehow give them peace of mind, contentment, true friendship, love, respect, and life purpose. And because owning the world can't and won't satisfy, once the masses are crushed, elites will just turn on each other and continue their bloody Game of Thrones until the day they die. In a winner-take-all world, only one person can win. It's time to go to war with the elites. And voting is not going to do it. There are really only 3 things we can do to resist the Great Reset. And remember, we have less than 9 years. Number 1, first and foremost, is to vote with your time and money. The polls can't and won't save you from the corporations that control Congress. We have to bankrupt them. The only way to do that is to stop giving them our money. No more shopping, no more banking, no more enriching predator corporations. Go local, go independent. You can also join the national strike that's currently underway, refusing to contribute your time and talent to enriching multinational extractors. Number 2, amass owned assets. Help others do the same and never sell. I'm talking productive businesses, houses, land, building supplies, water resources, power generation, renewable lumber, animals, seeds, real wealth. While you're at it, download every movie and song that you ever hope to listen to or watch more than twice. Otherwise, you'll be forced to rent these things again and again and again for top dollar, and in doing so, further enrich the most corrupt institutions and people on earth. We need to help each other amass assets. Number 3, get offline and build real relationships with real people. We need more friends. We need to build resilient micro-societies and entirely new anti-corporate pro-commons sovereignties and offline communities of people who really care for each other and know each other. When Feudalism 2.0 takes over the economy, we serfs are going to need each other. Thanks for listening to Surviving Tomorrow. Please share this episode by email and social media so we can grow our community of resistors. We are listener supported, so if you'd like to get involved, please visit jaredbrock.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.